Lisa. Today I am going to be making something with these scalloped tag dies, and there are 5 dies in the set. So here is your largest die, and we have the second largest, okay, and then this size, and then we have a really tiny one, okay? And I'm also going to be working with these stamps, Tags2Stamps, and there are a variety of to and from in different fonts, so you really can pick and choose if you want to go with a fancy, or if you want to do a script, or if you just want to, go with something more thick or masculine or more friendly. It's really up to you. And then there's some of these little accent pieces that you can use in the set. So I am going to go ahead and die cut each one of these just so you can see what they look like when they're die cut out. So here they are. I went ahead and just die cut them in pink paper, but you can see the largest die here. So this is this one. And I would say, let's go ahead and take out a ruler just to see how tall. This is about 4 1/4. It's about 4 1/4 inches by about 2 1/4. So that's the largest one. Okay, and then you've got the next size. This one's about 3 1/4 by about 1 3/4. Then you've got this size, which is approximately, it's almost 2 1/2. It's slightly under. It's a little bit over 2 1/4. And then that's by about 1 1/4. And then it goes down to really small. So we've got about 1 1/2 by 1. And then this one is so itty bitty. And that one's about 1 inch by about 1/2 inch. So those are the sizes. And I do want to point out that when you die cut these, the holes actually die cut as well. So you can stick twine or some ribbon or something through that. I thought that was really nice. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a tag. I'm using the largest die in the set. I cut that out of some Ginger Snap cardstock. And I'm going to be using the Darling collection, and I am going to use my Heart Flowers to Stamp. I'm going to cut out of this pattern paper. I'm going to cut this really pretty pink and white floral print. And out of the candy cardstock, I'm going to cut the shadow part. So I've got these 2 dies here from the Heart Flowers to Stamp set, or die set. So I used this die, and I also used this die, and I cut out another piece with the candy, and then this is the sea glass cardstock, and these will all just layer on top just like that. Now I'm just going to ink up some edges. This is the candy ink, so I'm going to ink up the edges of this candy background layer. I think by inking up these edges, it just adds a nice dimension to your embellishments. And then I'm going to take the sea glass ink, and I'm going to do the same with this piece. Put on this pretty little pearl embellishment. I'm gonna add glue. I know it has sticky on the back, but sometimes I just like to add glue just to make sure that the stick does not unstick. Isn't that pretty? So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp some of these stamps out onto the tag, and I'm using it's more of a script to and from, because I'm using a flower. I think it's just a little bit more formal. And I think I'm going to add this little decorative accent piece right here underneath. I'm using the candy ink, and let's see how this turns out. I may have to go with a darker ink. Let's see. You know, maybe if I keep pressing this down, adding more ink, it'll come out darker. I was thinking about going with the guava ink, which is a little bit darker pink. There, that looks pretty good. All right, so here's what I have so far. I'm gonna take another one of the larger die, tag dies, and I'm gonna die cut this really pretty pattern paper out of that die. All right, so I die cut it out of the pattern paper. I also die cut again out of the candy cardstock. And what I'm gonna do, well, my whole goal here is we're gonna layer these together. I think that will be really pretty. But because I don't like this pattern on the back, I mean, I like the pattern, I just don't think that it goes with my whole theme, and I don't want it showing when you turn the tag over. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to stack these so that the pattern on the back is covered, and I am just going to glue these together. And what I'm doing is I actually turned the die cut over so that the back side is showing. So you have the little bit of the rough edge. So that way the other side is now smooth. So just make sure that everything is even on that. So now this is a smooth finish. Okay, then I die cut another piece of the pattern paper. It's all with the same color scheme, same paper pad. And I'm gonna do the same thing just to bring out some of the blues, more of these blues that are in the flower. And that one is going on the back of this. And then my flower is going to go here. And go ahead and apply the tag, and I'm going to put the tag on the bottom left. Which actually some of it, I put a little extra glue on the bottom. I'm just gonna wipe that up. It dries clear, so it's no big deal. So I wanted to have another flower on this second tag. So I am gonna go ahead and, I went ahead and die cut these smaller flower dies, and I am going to ink up those edges just like I did on this large one. So the candy is going to go on the candy cardstock. So candy ink will go on the candy cardstock, and the sea glass ink will go on the sea glass cardstock. I love these flower dies because you can mix and match all of these dies, and these dies are so tiny, some of them, that you can actually use some of those really tiny scraps that you have laying around from your papers, your cardstock, your small pieces from your pattern paper. So even something like this with these little dies, you can actually take like this little circle and just die cut one of these little thin strips here on the side, and you're not wasting any paper. Look at that, look how tiny that is. And that's what I did with this one. See how tiny? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and adhere these together. So I'm gonna take some of this pink and some sea glass ribbon here. Let's see. I think we're gonna put the two together. See if we can get them to go through this hole. And then we're going to put it through this hole. And then we're just going to try and straighten this out just a tad. Okay, let's bring it up a little bit more. Let's go ahead and tie this. And we'll cut these off. I think one side's longer than the other, so let's just trim this down just a tad bit more. I think we'll go aim this way. Okay. Okay, isn't that really, really pretty? I love how this turned out. I love these colors together. Turned out super, super cute. So it's just the second piece, I mean, it's just another accent piece just to give this tag more character and make it a little bit more colorful. So if you were using this tag as, you know, to give to someone as a gift, you can put your to and from here. And then if you had a message, you can always flip this open and write a message on the inside. And you can see how it has both of the pattern papers on there. So I think it turned out really, really pretty. Here are some other examples of how I use the scallop tags and the stamps. Here on a mason jar card, the smaller tag is attached to the mason jar, and I will have a complete tutorial on how I made this card. I'll link that below. And I also used it on this flower pot folded card, and I attached a medium-sized scallop tag to the flower pot. And again, a complete tutorial for this will be linked below as well.